Israel has a right to defend itself.
Since 1967, the Gaza Strip and the West Bank have both been militarily occupied by the State of Israel, marking them as occupied territories, not as sovereign states. The beginning of military occupation already marks the beginning of an armed conflict. Therefore, Israel as the occupying power does not exactly have the right to use militarized force against the people that it occupies. Further, occupation law prohibits the occupying party from using militarized force against the people that it occupies. According to the United Nations Charter, Article 2.4, the use of force is prohibited, meaning it is illegal and not allowed. However, in Article 51, the use of force is allowed in one circumstance, and that is to defend yourself against an already armed conflict, armed force that is happening. Now, Israel as the occupying force, according to occupation law, does not have the right to use militarized force against the occupied territories, against the people who they already occupied, when there is an armed attack. However, it does have the right to use police force and any force to bring back law and order into the society. However, this is greatly restricted in order to favor the security of the people who they occupy and to bring law and order back into the occupied regions or the occupied territories dash populations. The occupying power only has the right to use lethal force as the last resort, not as the first option. However, as we've seen with Israel's timeline and history, they've used lethal force always as the primary course of action, thus breaking and going against occupation law. Since a military occupation already marks the use of an armed attack or an armed force, Israel's claim to self-defense does not actually exist, and can only resort to using police and any necessary enforcement to restore law and order back into the occupied territories in accordance with international humanitarian law in order to subdue any form of violence coming from the occupied territories, not in order to wage war or genocide as we see going on in Gaza today.